Welcome to the regular briefing session of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. Following this briefing session, we will have our regular meeting where we will actually vote. Commissioner Gloria Wisenhunt is not with us today. She is on a government trip with other members of the state government to Alaska. Today we have a little unusual situation. This is the day after the primaries for the Republican and Democratic tickets. And today, about half of the people in the commissioners' meeting room today are wearing white shirts representative of the Forsyth County Emergency Medical Service. And I can't figure out why they're here. I'm thinking, well, they're probably here because they expect three of us to drop after a while, and then we may need emergency care. And I can assure you, I have all the trust in the world, and all of us do. But we're here with sunshiny faces. We're all in our places. And the briefing session today is for the 2nd of June. And as soon as we complete that briefing session, we'll take about a 5-minute recess, and then we will begin the regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board. Having said that, I will turn the meeting over now to our Vice Chairman, Don Martin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a pleasure to welcome everyone here today for our regular May 19th meeting. And I'd like to invite Pastor Benjamin Marsh to come forward. He is from the First Alliance Church. He's going to lead us in our invocation, and then following that, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Linville. And would you please stand if you are able?
Lord, we begin with gratefulness. We are grateful for the gifts that you've given to this community, this board of leaders, our civil servants, and the citizens of Forsyth County. We take nothing for granted, knowing that all good gifts come from above. And so we give you thanks, first and foremost. Lord, we pray for our civil servants, including those that are in this room, representative of many others who are the first to respond in moments of urgent need. Would you gracefully sustain them with your safety, Lord, with your health and well-being? We are so grateful for them, for their loving service, for their charitable, self-sacrificial care for all of us. Lord, would you grant today in this meeting and in the meetings to come unity that comes from you, wisdom that comes from you, patience and kindness and love that come from you, that reveal themselves in supernatural ways as this board makes decisions as our civil leaders. Lord, as you are a good shepherd, would you have them be your under-shepherds for the benefit of us all? In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Marsh, for being with us today. Citizens who are interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting, please call 336-422-1200, and you'll be placed on hold until the public session begins. And that number again is 336-422-1200. And any member of the audience who is interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting, please fill out a speaker card and return to the clerk. And the cards are actually out on a little table, and our clerk is right here, and we'd be happy to accept that. And we are going to begin, all of our regular meetings with an update from our health director, Joshua Swift, and he's going to give us a COVID-19 update. So Joshua, please begin. I think you're online here. Okay.
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners. I'm bringing up my presentation shortly.
It's on the screen.
Okay. All right. So the update for Forsyth County for May 19th, over the last 14 days, we have seen an increase in cases of 59%. Our deaths have not increased. They stayed relatively flat. This puts us in line with the state, which has seen a 54% increase. over the last 14 days, and in the United States, there's been an overall increase in cases of 61%. We have 15 Forsyth County residents who are hospitalized here with COVID-19, and when you look at our, I got ahead of myself, we have 11 long-term care centers that are currently in outbreak, and 9 cases related to the detention center. This next slide shows the number of cases per week. This is showing over the whole pandemic since March of 2020. We had 695 cases the week of May the 8th. So we are really back to where we were in early to mid-February as we were coming. We went steeply up with Omicron, steeply back down real quick. We're back to where we were in early to mid-February. And, just overall, we're seeing an increase week over week, but nothing as steep and as sharp as we saw with Omicron. Next slide, you can see the percent positivity was at 17.7% the week of May 8th. Again, with both this slide and the previous slide, these are only the lab-confirmed tests and lab-confirmed cases. So we don't have a record of the at-home test to see what the number are of cases, and obviously that messes with your skews the percent positivity. The next, we're looking at the cases reported, looking at a bigger snapshot, a little more detail from early April to mid-May. The majority of our cases were, you can see it broken down by age and race. When you look at the age, you can see the majority of cases, as it's been all along, is 25 to 49-year-olds, with the next largest group being 50 to 64-year-olds. So that's where we're seeing the majority of our cases. The next slide, and this one is very hard to read, but just wanted to show some data on the number of cases and deaths since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's broken down by zip code. Obviously, keep in mind that not every zip code has the same population, but this is just a way just to see from the beginning the number of cases and the number of deaths by these zip codes in the county. And my last slide is really just how, going forward, we're focused, the biggest thing to tell people and to tell the public is to stay up to date on your COVID-19 vaccines. That's the best way to stay prepared. Take a COVID test and stay home when you're feeling sick, working with the library system to have at-home tests at all 10 library branches, plus at the health department. People can come pick those up anytime and get treatment right away if you test positive. Again, like I said, we're seeing the cases go up, but it's not as steep an increase as we've seen before. Luckily, the hospitalizations, although they are ticking up a little bit, they're not going up steeply as well, where last summer we had over 100 Forsyth County residents in the hospital. So I'd be happy to take any questions at this time. I'll stop presenting. And as always, thank you for letting me have a chance to give you a brief update.
Any questions for Joshua?
Just one question, Mr. Vice Chair. Josh, do you know what the triad increase status is that is in Guilford County, Davie, or Davidson? That's the surrounding counties in the area. Are they similar in terms of increases hours?
Yeah, I regularly check, especially with Guilford County, since they're a similar population size, and they're seeing an uptick as well, about that same 50 to 60%, same as us.
Okay.
Other questions? As always, Joshua, thank you so much for all the work you do, not just our reports, but thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
The first item on our agenda is the zoning petition of Elizabeth McCracken White, Philip Eldridge McCracken, Timothy J. McCracken, and W. Bradford Schultz from AG to RS 9S. We actually had a public hearing on this item on April the 7th, 2022, at the Board of Commissioners meeting. There were several questions and things that have actually been discussed since that point. I think we're ready to actually act today. And Mr. Murphy, could you just give us a review of the request?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I will. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the board. This is case F-1612, and this is a request to rezone 11.18 acres of property located on the north side of Ogden School Road, west of Davis Ridge Road, from AG to RS 9S. This is the subject property shown on the Legacy Growth Management Area Plan located in Growth Management Area 4, future growth area. Here is the subject property shown highlighted in yellow on the north side of Ogden School Road. This is the subject property also highlighted in yellow shown on the countywide aerial photography. This is looking west on Ogden School Road. The subject property is on the right side of the road. This is looking east down Ogden School Road. This is the proposed location of the main entrance on the left. This is looking west up Ogden School Road. This is the proposed location of the main entrance on the right as you're looking at the image. Again, this is looking east down Ogden School Road. The subject property begins at the flag shown on the left side of the road. You can barely see it, located right here. This is the area plan map. This is located in the Southeast Forsyth County Area Plan Update, which was adopted by the commissioners back in 2013. The recommended land use is for single-family residential use, 0 to 8 units per acre. Here is the site plan showing the lotting pattern, the entrance onto Ogden School Road, along with a proposed stub street to both the to the west and to the north. The request is consistent with the low-density residential land uses recommended by the area plan. The subject property is within its GMA 4, but it's GMA 3 because it has access to public water and sewer. Even though what is proposed within the development is a private lift station, it can get into a public line through that pump station. The site is served by a minor thoroughfare, which has ample capacity. This was heard by the Planning Board at their February 10th, 2022 public hearing. There were no speakers in opposition on this case. The Planning Board did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this request to the commissioners. The site plan does meet UDO requirements. And again, we have previously held a public hearing on this, and this item was continued, I believe, a couple times for further discussion with the Utility Commission on the possibility of public sewer. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we prepared for a motion?
So moved, Mr. Vice Chair. Let me read the motion.
Please.
The motion to approve zoning map amendment F-1612 and statement of consistency with comprehensive plan. I move the zoning map amendment F-1612, including site plan and special use district, be approved on the basis of the following. The proposed special use zoning map amendment, as petitioned by Elizabeth McCracken White, Philip Eldridge McCracken, Timothy J. McCracken, and W. Bradford Schultz, to rezone an 11.18 acre piece of property from AG to RS9S, residential building, single family, and planned residential development, is consistent with the recommendation of the Legacy Comprehensive Plan and reasonable or in the public interest because, number one, the subject property, a mostly undeveloped site located on the north side of Ogden School Road, west of Davis Ridge Road, in close proximity to the town limits of Kernersville, is currently zoned AG and is adjacent to property zoned AG, and in close proximity to Kernersville property zoned Traditional Neighborhood Design Special, which zoning promotes compact mixed-use development projects, including residential and business uses. Number two, the proposed RS9S zoning is intended to accommodate relatively high-density single-family detached dwellings in urban areas and growth management areas 2 and 3, and where public facilities, including public water and sewer, are available. 3, the proposed site plan features the construction of 26 single-family detached houses. 4, Ogden School Road has excess capacity to handle traffic generated by the proposed uses. The site has access to public water, and the proposed privately owned sewer lines and lift station will convey sewage to the public sewer system to the north of the site. 5, the site is located in the Lower Abbots Creek Water Supply watershed and will comply with residential development requirements by limiting built-upon areas to less than 24% of the site. Number 6, the subject property is located in Growth Management Area 3, is consistent with the low-density residential land use recommendations of the Southeast Forsyth County Area Plan Update, and the proposed use is consistent with proximate zoning. And 7, Forsyth County strongly encourages the petitioners to confer with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities regarding the site's sewer and water infrastructure, and to construct this infrastructure in such a manner that would allow the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities Commission to accept ownership of the infrastructure once completed. Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty, thank you. The next item of the agenda is the zoning petition of Elizabeth McCracken White, Philip Eldridge McCracken, Timothy J. McCracken, W. Bradford Schultz, Tracy Knuckles, J. Devon Shropshire, and the Shropshire Family Trust from AG to RS 15-S. And again, a public hearing was held on this item on April 7th, 2022, Board of Commissioners meeting. We had some of the very same discussions in between in the last month. And Mr. Murphy, would you please review the request?
Thank you again, Mr. Vice Chair. Yes, this is a request to rezone approximately 84.68 acres located on the south side of Ogden School Road, west of Davis Ridge Road, from AG to RS 15-S. And I did misspeak on the last case when I was talking about the growth management area plan. It is located within GMA 3, but kind of the angle I'm looking at this, it looked like it was in 4. This is a subject property shown on the growth management area plan for Forsyth County. This property is located within GMA 3, Suburban Neighborhoods Growth Management Area. Here's the subject property highlighted in yellow, again on the south side of Ogden School Road, across from a part of the Caleb's Creek property, which is the TNDS property, and also across from the property that you just considered in case F1612. This is the subject property highlighted in yellow on the countywide aerial photo. You'll see it's primarily wooded with some agricultural uses and cultivation. The property currently. This is looking west on Ogden School Road. The subject property is on the left-hand side of the road. You'll see the sign on the left-hand side. The sign that you see on the right-hand side was the case that you just considered. This is looking east down Ogden School Road. This is the proposed location of the main entrance to the subdivision on the right-hand side of the road. This is looking west along Ogden School Road. This is the proposed location of the main entrance for the subdivision also, but this is looking at it in the other direction, and that is on the left. The main entrance would be. This is looking east down Ogden School Road from the proposed secondary entrance for the subdivision on the right. And this is looking west along Ogden School Road from the proposed secondary entrance for the subdivision, again, from the opposite, looking in the opposite direction, so the main entrance, or this entrance would be on the left. This is the Southeast Forsyth County Area Plan Update, again adopted in 2013, with the recommended land use being low-density residential 0 to 8 units per acre. Here is the site plan shown with the 2 entrances along Ogden School Road, good interconnectivity within the project, preservation of the lowland stream areas and floodplains. This request is consistent with the low-density residential land uses recommended by the area plan. The subject property is located within GMA 3, and it does have access to public water and public sewer via a private system pumping into the city-county utility treated sewer system. The site is served by a minor thoroughfare, which does have ample capacity. This item was heard by the Planning Board at their February 10th, 2022 public hearing. There was 1 speaker in opposition. Their concerns primarily dealt with stormwater and drainage concerns, along with the loss of privacy and potential reduction in property values. I believe that same speaker also spoke to the commissioners back whenever this public hearing was originally held. Hearing those concerns, the Planning Board did consider the item and did recommend unanimously this request for approval for this request to the board, and the site plan does meet UDO requirements. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy? Do we have a motion?
Have a motion, Mr. Vice Chair, Motion to approve zoning map amendment F-1613 and statement of consistency with comprehensive plan. I move that zoning map amendment F-1613, including site plan and special use district, be approved on the basis of the following. The proposed special use zoning map amendment, as petitioned by Elizabeth McCracken White, Philip Eldridge McCracken, Timothy J. McCracken, W. Bradford Schultz, Tracy B. Nicholas, J. Devin Shropshire, and Shropshire Family Trust to rezone an 84.68 acre piece of property from AG to RS 15-S. Residential building, single family, 15,000 square foot minimum lot size, and planned residential development is consistent with the recommendation of the Legacy Comprehensive Plan and reasonable or in the public interest because, number one, the subject property, a mostly undeveloped site located at 166 Austin School Road, adjacent to the town limits of Kernersville, is currently zoned AG and is adjacent to property zoned AG and Kernersville property, zoned Traditional Neighborhood Design Special, which zoning promotes compact mixed-use development projects, including residential and business uses. Two, the proposed RS 15-S zoning is intended to accommodate low to moderate density single-family detached dwellings in suburban and urban areas in Growth Management Area 2- and 3, and where public facilities, including public water and sewer, are available. Three, the proposed site plan features the construction of 218 single-family detached houses. Four, the site has access to public water, and the proposed privately owned sewer lines and lift station will convey sewage to the public sewer system to the north of the site. Five, the site is located in the Lower Abbots Creek Waterway Supply watershed and will comply with residential development requirements by limiting built-upon areas to less than 24% of the site. Six, the subject property is located in Growth Management Area 3. Is consistent with the low-density residential land use recommendation of the Southeast Forsyth County Area Plan update, and the proposed use is consistent with adjacent zoning. And seven, Forsyth County strongly encourages the petitioners to confer with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities regarding the site's sewer and water infrastructure, and to construct this infrastructure in such a manner that will allow the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utility Commissions to accept ownership of the infrastructure once completed. Do we have a second, Mr. Vice Chair?
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The third item on the agenda is the zoning petition of Billy Rose Robertson, Generation Skipping Family Trust, Hugh Robertson and William Robertson from RS9 to RM8S. Public hearing was held on this item on April 21st, 2022, Board of Commissioners meeting. Had some of the same issues that have been resolved. Mr. Murphy, would you please review the request?
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this is a approximate 24.68 acre site located on the west side of South Main Street, just north of Jones Road. The request is to rezone from RS9 to RM8S. Here is the subject property shown on the Countywide Growth Management Area Plan in Legacy in the Suburban Neighborhoods Growth Management Area. Here's the subject property in yellow, again located on the east side of South Main Street, north of Jones Road. And here is the subject property highlighted, outlined in yellow on the countywide aerial photos. And you can see the site is predominantly wooded at the current time. This is looking west along Jones Road. The subject property is to the right. In the background of this image would be the intersection of Jones Road and South Main Street. This is looking south on South Main Street. The subject property is to the left. This is looking north along South Main Street. The subject property is to the right. And this is looking east on Jones Road. The subject property is to the left. This is about at the eastern limit of the proposed project where Jones Road curves to the right as you head east. This is the South Suburban Area Plan update, which was adopted in 2017 by the commissioners. It recommends a low-density residential, 0 to 8 units per acre for the subject property. Here is the site plan showing streets coming off of both South Main Street and Jones Road with a mix of 4, 5, 6, and 7 unit townhomes. This is another one of those projects that has a private lift station that will pump over the ridge and get into the city-county utility treated system. And the location of that is just to the southwest of this image at the intersection of Jones, South Main, and Fishel, where that offset intersection is located just to the southwest of the subject property. These are the building elevations. I'm going to kind of zip through those quick because they have, mixes of 4, 5, 6, 7 attached products. Those are just representative of what the buildings will look like. The request to rezone the 24.6 acres from RS9 to RM8S is consistent with a South Suburban Area Plan update recommendation. That plan recommends a mixture of housing types for different income levels, family sizes, and personal preferences. The request is proposing a density that's actually less than recommended. They had to go with RM8 zoning because in RM5, which is the density that they're proposing, approximately 5 units per acre, you can only have up to 4 attached townhomes. So they went to the higher classification so that they could have 6, 7, 8 attached units in single buildings. This request will generate less traffic than what could be expected under the present RS zoning. This was heard by the Planning Board at their March 10th, 2022 public hearing. There was one speaker in opposition. That opposition centered around concerns with property values and traffic impacts. After hearing that, the Planning Board did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this request to the commissioners. And with that, the site plan does meet UDO requirements. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy? All righty, do we have a motion?
Yes, we do, Mr. Vice Chair. I move that zoning map amendment F1615, including site plan and special use district, be approved on the basis of the following. The proposed special use zoning map amendment as petitioned by Billy Ross Robertson, Generation Skipping Family Trust, Hugh Robertson, and William Robertson to rezone a 24.6 acre piece of property from RS9 to RM8-S, residential building, townhouse, residential building, multifamily, residential building, single family, residential family, twin home, residential family, duplex, and planned residential development is consistent with the recommendations of the Legacy Comprehensive Plan and reasonable or in the public interest because, number one, the subject property, an undeveloped site located on the east side of South Main Street and the north side of Jones Road, is currently zoned RS9 and is adjacent to property zoned RS9 and MF1, with adjacent uses of manufactured housing, a planned residential development, and undeveloped parcels. Number two, the proposed RM8S zoning is intended to accommodate duplexes, twin homes, townhouses, multifamily residences, and other low-intensity multifamily residential uses at a maximum density of 8 units per acre in growth management areas 2 and 3, and where public facilities including public water and sewer are available. 3, the proposed site plan features the construction of 118 multifamily housing units, which would be fewer units than allowed with the current zoning. 4, the site has access to public water, and the proposed privately owned sewer lines and lift station will convey sewage to the public sewer system, which can be accessed from the site. 5, the subject property is located excuse me, in growth management areas. 3, is consistent with the South Suburban Area Plan update, and the proposed use is consistent with adjacent zoning and residential uses. And 6, Forsyth County strongly encourages the petitioners to confer with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities regarding the site sewer and water infrastructure, and to construct that infrastructure in such a manner that will allow the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Utilities Commission to accept ownership of the infrastructure once completed. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All righty. The next item on the agenda is a resolution recognizing May 2022 as Foster Care Awareness Month in Forsyth County. And Sharita Kane from our Social Services Division Director and Crossnor Children's Home representatives are here to receive the resolution. Why don't you come forward? And I believe Commissioner Elamine, after you wet your whistle a little bit from all that reading, perhaps you could go down and present that resolution, please.
I've never heard a commissioner being granted permission to wet his whistle.
There you go. That's a lot of talking.
It's a good job.
Let me read the following resolution. Resolution recognizing May 2022 as Forsyth Care Awareness Month in Forsyth County, North Carolina. Whereas the family, serving as the primary source of love, identity, and support, is the foundation of our communities. Whereas over 400,000 children are in the foster care system in the United States because their own families are in crisis and unable to provide for their essential safety and well-being needs. Whereas foster families who open their hearts and homes to help children whose families are in crisis play a vital role in helping children heal, reconnect, and transition successfully into adulthood. Whereas in Forsyth County, there were 220 children in foster care on March 9th, 2022, being provided with a safe and stable home by licensed foster families, relatives, and approved caretakers. Whereas the needs of children in foster care results in a greater need for trained foster families, community partners, and additional resources. Whereas the Forsyth County Department of Social Services depends on the active support and involvement of the Forsyth County community to support the well-being needs of children in the foster care system. Whereas the Family and Children's Division of the Forsyth County Department of Social Services continues to implement trauma-informed practices to support the emotional, behavioral, and well-being needs of children who have experienced abuse, neglect, and dependency within their previous environments. Whereas Crossmore Communities for Children is a community agency that routinely partners with the Forsyth County Department of Social Services in training foster families and securing permanent homes for children, and provides a variety of resources, including community training, support for licensed foster families, recruitment of adoptive families, and post-adoption support services. And whereas the Forsyth County Department of Social Services acknowledges that the foster care system needs more compassionate foster and adoptive homes to ensure placement stability for children and to help them heal. Therefore, ongoing partnerships on every level are critical to the success of the foster care system. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes for the month of May 2022 as Foster Care Awareness Month in Forsyth County, and encourages all citizens and community partners to consider how they can assist with supporting the emotional, social, and academic needs of children in the foster care system as they grow to become citizens in our community, adopted this 19th day of May, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
I think we have this officially on a document for you, better than the one that I'm reading from. I think, yes, it's in here.
And ladies, if you all would mind turning around and take a picture, and you can also make a comment, but perhaps you do the picture first. And maybe Commissioner Elamine can join in there. There we go. Any comments you'd like to make, you'd be welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sharita Kane, and I'm the Division Director with the Forsyth County Department of Social Services. And we would just like to say that May is a very important month to all of us at the agency. It is a time where we are able to recognize not only the need for additional foster parents for all of the youth that we currently have. As of today, we have 241 children in foster care. But it's also important because we get to recognize and celebrate not only the foster parents, but our foster care social workers, our CPS social workers, our intake social workers, adoptions, all of the staff that work diligently and hard every day to make sure that each youth has a permanent home at some point. A permanent, not only a permanent home, but a stable, a loving home. And we just really want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to celebrate that for us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Meredith Martin, and on behalf of our Board of Trustees and Brett Loftus, our CEO, we want to thank you for this proclamation. We are just fortunate that we partner with Forsyth DSS so closely and so many of our other county agencies to come together as a community, because truly we cannot do this just as government, just as nonprofits. This is really all of us working together to keep families together, to keep families healthy and happy and at home. And so we just really appreciate this and look forward to continued partnerships. Thank you.
Thank all of you for being here. Appreciate everything you do for all of our kids, our foster kids, for sure, 241 of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, you too. The next item on the agenda is actually a resolution recognizing May 15th through 21st, this very week, 2022, as National EMS Week in Forsyth County. I know we have our EMS Director, Darren Ziegler, here, along with a number of EMS staff. We're pleased to have you here, and we want to thank you for what you do. Ask you to come forward, and Commissioner Elamine, if you could please read the resolution, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners, resolution recognizing May 15th to the 21st, 2022 as National EMS Week in Forsyth County, North Carolina. Whereas the Forsyth County Emergency Services, EMS Division, workforce is a critical component of our medical response to all emergencies within Forsyth County. Whereas our EMS workers have been courageous, inventive, and tireless in their work to protect our citizens and visitors from the effects of community violence, illness, accidents, and the COVID-19 pandemic, oftentimes at the risk of their own safety and health. Whereas our EMS workers stand ready to respond and serve regardless of the situation, in all manner of weather, anytime, day or night. Whereas the EMS system has been recognized as the safety net of the healthcare system in this county, and when anyone calls 911, they will get a response regardless of their situation or status. Whereas the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners is committed to a continued emphasis on maintaining a high-quality, high-performing EMS system. And whereas the community has EMS workers that are engaged and actively partnered with all other public safety agencies for the protection and well-being of the people of Forsyth County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National EMS Week in Forsyth County and encourages its observance to all county residents and convey our deepest gratitude to EMS professionals who serve our county every day. Adopted this the 19th day of May, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
And Darren, you or anybody else would be welcome to make a comment or two.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to note that the group we have here today is very representative of all parts of our EMS agency, from training to MIH to our folks that are on the street every day. All of these folks are off today. This is their day off because the bottom line, all of our brothers and sisters are out there working right now, and they're busy. And so a lot of them honestly didn't know why they were coming in today, but they came anyway. Most of them didn't know till just before the meeting, but they came, and that's a good sign of their commitment to the citizens and what we've got going on here. So thank you.
Thank all of you. If you all turn around and get a picture, that would be great. All right. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a resolution affirming and committing to the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion in Forsyth County. And Commissioner McDaniel will present the resolution to county staff. So, and there she is.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Yes, sir.
Everybody in this room is going to know the truth, but Damon, come here. At least 3 of us. What the heck? If you're a county staff member, come up. This really is.
Yes. All together.
Come on up. Everybody.
Come on up, come on up.
I know.
What if you feel like a staff member?
And Todd would, but he really does speak to
Thank you so much, Chairman and Vice Chair and the Board of Commissioners. Today, I will be reading the resolution affirming and committing to the values, diversity, equity, and inclusion in Forsyth County. Whereas the founding principles of our nation set forth the fundamental ideas of equity, equality, and inclusion, the basic right of the people to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and equal protection, as expressed in the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Whereas Forsyth County values the multifaceted ways embracing diversity, enables it to be a welcoming and inclusive place to live, work, and enjoy life. Whereas the county is committed to good governance, quality customer service, non-discrimination, equal employment opportunities, equal pay, safe and healthy work environments, and cultural awareness. Wherefore, the county does not discriminate in public accommodations and welcomes all people to its place of work and service, and everyone should feel welcome at county public facilities and events. And whereas the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners, county manager, and county employees support the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion in county governance, operations, and services, and the county promotes diversity awareness, equity, workplace harassment prevention, and disability awareness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby affirms and commits to the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion in every aspect of the county governance, operations, and services rendered to the county residents. Adopted this 19th May of 2022.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously.
Look around and get a picture. Yeah, right here. How do you want to do this? You like this?
Show your teeth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not breathing.
All righty.
And I will say, I'm really proud of those fine, diverse group of people that that make this county work, and we promise to do all those things. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution recognizing June 19th, 2022 as Juneteenth National Independence Day in Forsyth County. Mr. Al Jabbar from Winston-Salem, Forsyth County NAACP President is here to receive the resolution. Please come forward, Mr. Jabbar. And Commissioner McDaniel, would you please read the resolution?
Thank you, Mrs. Barr. I got a slight cold, so I just want you to stay right there. All right, thank you. No, come back. You're 6 feet is fine.
Just said slight, just a slight cold.
I'm COVID negative, but I just got a summer cold. But nevertheless, thank you, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Board of Commissioners regarding this resolution recognizing June 19, 2022 as Juneteenth National Independence Day in Forsyth County, North Carolina. Whereas news of the end of slavery did not reach the southeastern states until months after the conclusion of the Civil War, almost 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. Whereas on June 19, 1865, Union soldiers led Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the Civil War had ended and the enslaved were free. Whereas African Americans who had been slaves in the South celebrated June 19th, commonly known as Juneteenth National Independence Day, as inspiration and encouragement to further future generations. Whereas African Americans from the South had continued the tradition of observing Juneteenth National Independence Day for more than 150 years. Whereas Juneteenth National Independence Day began as a holiday in the state of Texas and now is celebrated in 46 states and the District of Columbia as a special day of observation in recognition of the emancipation of all slaves in the United States. Whereas Juneteenth National Independence Day celebrations have been held to honor African American freedom while encouraging self-development and respect for all cultures. Whereas the faith and strength of character demonstrated by former slaves and descendants of former slaves remain an example for all people in the United States, regardless of background, religion, or race. Whereas slavery was not officially abolished until the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States on December 6, 1965. And whereas over the course of its history, the United States has grown into a symbol of democracy and freedom around the world. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners recognizes the historical significance of Juneteenth National Independence Day to the United States and supports the continued nationwide celebration to better understand the experience that have shaped the United States. Adopted this 19th day of May, 2022.
I will second the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. You can take a picture, and then Mr. Jabbar, you'd be welcome to make a comment or two.
Board Chair Plyler and distinguished county commissioners, on behalf of the NAACP and its executive board, I want to thank you for taking a step. As we recognized in our country just last week, a massacre in Buffalo, I thank you as citizens of Forsyth County to step forward and let the nation know that in Forsyth County, we do respect culture in this city and in this county. So again, I thank you for this opportunity, and may you be blessed.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the meeting of May 5th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, do we have any calls or cards for the public session?
No, sir, we do not.
None. Okey-dokey. All righty, well, Mr. Manager, please continue with the remainder of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, and good afternoon, board members. We do have some business items for consideration this afternoon. We have worked through these over the series of meetings and briefing sessions prior to this, and hopefully we've answered all your questions. So I'll dive into it. Item 10 is a resolution approving a revision to the 2021-2022 Juvenile Crime Prevention Council funding plan. This does recognize a reversion of funds and reallocation of $15,775. The new money or the reallocated funds will go to the Children's Center of Surrey County and $6,000, authoring action, the Just Us program, $4,640, Tried Restorative Justice, $1,115, and Parenting Path, $4,000.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Agenda item 11 is a resolution approving the community-based juvenile delinquency, substance abuse, and gang prevention plan for fiscal year 2022-2023 and authorizing its submission for state approval and implementation. You've got a list of agencies that would receive that funding. They total $940,852.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? I do have one item. I just want to thank all. I read the attachment that was sent from the last briefing about the adjustments that were made from the previous year to this coming year, and I was very pleased with the kind of the obviously there's been thoughtful evaluation applied, which has been discussed, and promising programs encouraged, and those are not. There have been some parts that have not been continued to not been refunded. So I really appreciate that work. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Agenda item 12 is a resolution approving a revised start date beginning May 20th, 2022 for 9 positions created for the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office Juvenile Intervention and Investigation Team, the ARPA-funded program. And this essentially allows them to accelerate vehicle purchases and hiring a little bit earlier than originally expected.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, we've got 3 contractual matters. You've got item 13, which is an ordinance amending the fuel surcharge rate chart and specifying rates for franchise, residential, and small business solid waste collection, transportation, and disposal services. And this essentially applies that same formula that the original plan had over $5 a gallon.
Move approval.
Motion
Second.
approved by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item 14 is a resolution rejecting bid proposals for employee wellness services, biometrics, coaching, and on-site clinic. You've got a resolution authorizing the execution of a 1-year agreement with Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center for employee wellness services, biometrics, coaching, and on-site clinic. Our expectation is to rebid this and get the new contract, whether it's a change provider or not, but make sure it lands at the right places where we can have a real smooth transition.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler. Second by Commissioner Kaplan, excuse me. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item 15 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of law enforcement stab-proof vests for law enforcement detention officer staff, and they'd be purchasing off the North Carolina State contract not to exceed $88,354.25 for 145 vests. And you heard from Major Whitaker about safety concerns trying to protect our officers.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item 16 is an interlocal agreement. It's a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and the City of Winston-Salem for the consolidation of county, city fire dispatch services. After a lot of work, and I will give a shout out to Damon Sanders Pratt, Deputy Manager. He's been working with the city for quite some time on this, and it's really just a recognition that discipline of fire dispatch really is appropriately done kind of in conjunction with emergency medical services dispatch. And so what you've got is an interlocal agreement which will transition immediately the actual responsibility and function to County 911. There will be payment for that assumption over a 5-year period from the city, and so the city's been very gracious in that.
Move approval.
Motion
Second.
approved by Chairman Plyler,
Second.
second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, item 17 is somewhat related. It is a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with the City of Winston-Salem to lease and renovate space in the Forsyth County Public Safety Building for the city's emergency dispatch primary public safety answering point. It is a lease arrangement. It is for 3,562 square feet of space, but an additional 533 kind of common area space in the public safety building, and it does provide for the them paying the portion of that cost kind of associated with the original upfit of that building and the cost in that building, and they will be co-locating that 911 center, which will receive 911 calls and do primary law enforcement dispatch and other kind of dispatch that's needed in the city, located beside the county's 911 system. And then there will also be, sheriff's dispatch will be right there. And so, in years to come, as different boards can kind of work through that system, we now have all those units on the same CAD, computer-aided dispatch platform. So the transfers are much easier, and now they will be physically transferred very close by. And then the other piece of it is we get all those 911 centers in that building happens to be seismic rated and all that. And so kind of a good future consolidation opportunity if in the future folks want to do that.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler. Second by Commissioner Linville. In discussion, I'll just simply say I hope that day in the future for Consolidated Services can make it. I actually remember being on a group discussing this in basically 1997. And now we've got them together, but we ain't quite made the final hurdle administratively, but we're getting there. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, very good, thank you. Agenda item 18 is a resolution authorizing the execution of agreement between Forsyth County and Forsyth Technical Community College for maintenance and operation of county-owned property located at 4915 Lansing Drive. What this essentially does is just clarify roles. The original kind of agreements that were outlined had a few areas, particularly around heating system and some other maintenance areas that were just confusing. This clarifies those those issues, and so we should be able to operate more effectively.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
We've got one property matter. It's a resolution exercising an option to purchase real property located at 4057 Assembly Drive from WPDA. Back in the history, the county had provided support to Whitaker Park, really as support for that whole economic development project. Part of that support was realized through this lease purchase agreement where we provided upfront funding of $1,474,000 5 years ago. There was a final kind of terminal payment of $175,000 that affects the purchase of that. If you remember, they were not able to they had to hold the property for a period of years before they could actually transition it. And so this schedule kind of aligned with that. So essentially what happens is making this final payment will transfer ownership of the property to the county. And then I think it's our intentions that that property would be available for future sale as the park develops, and it has, and areas around it are developing. So, we hope that its next life will be, as an economic development initiative itself. And so, but obviously the building is worth more than $175,000, so it makes sense to go ahead and purchase it. The only thing I would add, and maybe vote on that, but Darrell Walker is here. There were some questions at the last meeting about, they do occupy that building. It was identified, and it was actually very timely. Right after we acquired it, they had a real need around construction, so it's been used ever since. And I think Darrell's working appropriately to try to figure out if they have to move out, what would happen. I think Haynes Lawrence was identified as a potential for that. Obviously, that building's available and needs to be put back in use, so maybe that works. Darrell, do you mind coming up and just talking, just answer the question, what are your thoughts about it? I'll be real upfront. What I had conveyed to Darrell was I don't know that the building's going to sell, and so I don't know that there's an immediate need to leave it. So I don't know that they're necessarily in a rush. And if the building was able to be put back to use as an economic development effort, we would do much as we did with the Lansing Drive site, which is sort of take primary responsibility for helping you get out and helping coordinate all that. But anyway, Darrell.
Yep. So first of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to utilize that space over the last few years. Originally, for those that may not be familiar with the process, it was mainly set up for part of the 2016 bond as a distribution center for the technology for all of our classrooms. We knew kind of had been planning all along that this bond was kind of from 2016 to 2024, and that around somewhere in that 24, 25 year, we may need to look for another opportunities outside of that facility, because we knew that, as Dudley mentioned, that economic development and creating jobs and a bigger tax base was important to the county. So the ask that I went to our board last week, week before last, was to mainly ask our board if they would allow staff to program and come up with some cost estimates to open Haynes Lawrence back up. And so that's kind of where we are in that stage of the process right now, and so that we are prepared if you want to move forward in another use of the facility.
But you do propose to what you've been doing is the technology clearinghouse, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are there not staff located there permanently?
There are some staff over there during the previous superintendent leadership, moved some of our technology folks out. Some of our folks went to work from home. We did move some staff people over there. This would also allow them to transition. We're making that plan that if we need to move out of Whitaker Park, we will move them to Haynes Lawrence as well and bring some of that staff that's working from home back.
What's the timeline on the Haynes Lawrence work?
Well, it's a good question. Obviously, the supply chain has a lot of impact on that. I'll tell you right now, the roof products right now are a little over a year out, and we've got to put a new roof on that facility. And so I kind of anticipating at least a year to be able to get product in and get completed to just dry the building in and then do. So we'll probably end up, if we move into Haynes Lawrence, we're probably going to have to phase it anyway. I don't, from a cost perspective, I don't see that we can take that on all at one time. But that we would phase the technology piece and then kind of build out the building from there.
Do you have the funds to do the roof work, et cetera?
We'll have to get creative in our capital plan. We're going to have to move some projects around. Telling Dudley, we got some estimates 9 months ago at $1 million that came back last week at 2.1. So
that was for the
roof. Yeah.
Oh,
so, things are, every day things change. So, we'll just, we haven't officially bid it yet. You never know when you get to that process, or we may have to change the roof, how we do the roofing on this building versus how it currently is in order to try to save a little bit of money.
Okay. Any other questions for Darrell?
Just one quick question, Darrell.
Yes,
That gym in that facility is in pretty good shape the last time I was in it.
It is. The little theater's in the building right now, and they're using that space to build props.
Okay.
But the gym's in pretty good shape. We had just put a new floor in it right before we moved out. So
You almost answered my second question, and that was, would there be potential community use for some parts of that building going forward?
I have programmed, we're in the process of programming about 8 classroom areas for community use if they want to have homeowners association meetings or some community meetings within that area. So we're including that in our long-range programming.
Excellent. And final question, update on Ashley, please, sir.
We have a architect, Walter Robbs is our contractor. Wesley Curtis is taking the lead on that. Our superintendent allowed Action for Equity to have some public meetings around what they want to see in the new school. So we are waiting on some feedback from them, but we are close to finalizing our contract once we get that programming piece done.
Thank you very much, Darrell.
When you have your plan sort of, I don't know where it's officially approved or what it is for the reprogramming of Haynes, it'd be great to, if it's not too much trouble, to come just share that,
Absolutely.
to see what that is. And that would give you a much better idea. I mean, the roof is obviously one thing. There are obviously other work to do too.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you for coming. Any more discussion or questions, I think, for the county manager before we're ready for a motion? Do we have a motion to go ahead and purchase that Whitaker Park at 4057 Assembly Drive?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Chairman Plyler, second from Commissioner Lamine. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Just a few more items. Item 20 is a resolution approving refunds by the tax assessor collector in the amount of $2,036.92.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Chairman Linville, second by Chairman Plyler. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, item 21 is a resolution appointing John T. Burgess as the Forsyth County Tax Assessor, or reappointing the John T. Burgess as the Forsyth County Tax Assessor Collector.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Linville. Did I hear that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, you've got two reports. You've got the quarterly fuel surcharge report and then the March 2022 Human Resources Report.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Chairman Linville, second by
Second.
Chairman Plyler. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
That is it for the formal session.
Now ready for a motion to adjourn by,
Point of privilege, please, Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn. 30 seconds only. I want to commend Commissioner McDaniels for bringing the resolution concerning Juneteenth to the board. It reminded me of my friend Larry Womble, who read something very similar years ago at the General Assembly. In fact, he was the first one to do that years ago. So I'm glad to see us follow suit, and I encourage all the residents to participate in Juneteenth, which is right around the corner.
very good. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion adjourned by Commissioner Kaplan, second by Chairman Plyler. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Need about 5 minutes.